Where have you heard that a win is a win? Well, you're going to hear it here today on Locked On Jaguars in just a second.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, good people? Welcome to a Victory Monday celebration here on Locked On Jaguars. We're at your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. A quick reminder, we're free to subscribe to on our YouTube page. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe and also hit the bell after you subscribe to make sure you receive notifications every single time we drop an episode here on Locked On Jaguars. And then wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you tap in every single day there as well, to ensure that you catch every single episode. Today's show is sponsored by LinkedIn Jobs. And LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Shout out to the everydayers for tuning in every single day. And if you're not an everyday, you can be. Just come back every day. All right, some stuff to get into. A win is a win. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. It happens to be very, very true. The Jacksonville Jaguars won a game in Wembley versus the Atlanta Falcons yesterday, 23-7. Still not the complete game that fans have clamored for, and it's probably not the complete game that Doug Peterson wants. I'm not going to speak for him because I haven't heard him speak yet. I will. Normally under regular circumstances, there's a presser at 1:00. I will have listened to it, but today's not the day. You guys know I'm going in for a little hip replacement surgery shortly, so I won't be able to hear that. But I will tell you this: they had a little something in their giddy up on defense yesterday. And I noticed it from the very beginning that they were really, really trying to be physical. They were flying around the ball. They were getting a lot of penetration on the defensive line. So we're going to make sure that we highlight that today, including Josh Allen and his big day with 3 sacks, 3 very, very meaningful sacks and strips. Played really, really well and looked like a guy who is going to say, give me my money. Segment 2, we'll talk about Cam Robinson, his return this week. He's been back with the team now for a couple of weeks, but he can actually suit up and play and practice and prepare this week. So we'll talk about the impact that may have on an offensive line that seems to be really, really struggling. And then in segment 3, by the numbers, not BY, BUY. I want to see if the numbers are selling you, good or bad, that the Jacksonville Jaguars are what the numbers say that they are. So let's go back to what we started out with. A win is a win. The team needed a victory. The bottom line is you don't want to go into the Bills game next week, the one that they'll play in Wembley. You don't want to go into that game 1-3, because the likelihood of you coming out with 1-4 is a little bit higher than we'd like to be comfortable with. But it doesn't mean that they're going to lose. I'm not telling you that they're going to lose against the Buffalo Bills. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is it's better to go into a game like that at least even. The worst thing that's going to come out, you'll be one game under 500 as opposed to 2. And then with the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans both winning games yesterday that most people had on their schedule that they were going to lose. One beat the Bengals and the other one beat Houston beat somebody, though. Pittsburgh. They crushed them. Looks like this old AFC South, or the Mountain West of the NFL, ain't that bad after all, right? And these games are going to be hard every single week. And Houston has a quarterback in C.J. Stroud. So Tennessee is still Tennessee. These are games that you actually have to. So going into the season, nobody thought that those teams would beat the teams that they beat yesterday. No one thought Houston would lose to Jacksonville, right? No one thought Houston would lose to Jacksonville. So that's why a win is a win as a moniker and as a thought process is really, really pertinent and relevant when it comes to this team. You need to get them all. I don't care how ugly they look. I don't care if they win them the way that you want them to win. And I know the long-term goal here, and I've even said it is it's about how you play to win a championship, right? So at some point, sometimes to get to those wins, you're gonna need one that probably didn't go the way that you thought, like Kansas City last night against the Jets. They could have lost the game, seriously. So, that teaches you a lesson that while we monitor the game and watch the game, the guys that actually play the game, they have to play every single week and they have to play well. They have to play every single play, every single possession, because this is professional football and there are no bad players in the NFL. Relatively speaking, of course, there are players that are better than other players, but there are no bad players in the NFL. So a win is a win. It may not have looked the way you wanted it, but you can't be picky. Because one of the things that we talked about with the Jaguars coming into the season was everybody was worried about the defense. Oh, I know we're going to score offense. We're going to score points on offense. We're going to put up 30. But we have to keep the other team from putting up 31. We have to keep the other team. But, 4 games into the season, with the exception of one poor game against Houston, it's actually been the other way around. The defense has played extremely well, and the offense has been the one that's a head scratcher. And it's easy to look at the offense and it's easy to look at the things that are going on with them and think there's a problem with the personnel. There might be, but it's easy to say it without doing the proper research or doing the proper due diligence that has to be done. That are these players the right one? Press Taylor sucks. Trevor isn't as elite as you think. Calvin Ridley had too long of a layoff. Christian Kirk is too short. We can go around the mulberry bush all we want to, but I'm telling you right now, the problems with that offense starts with the offensive line. It ain't starting with Press Taylor. It's not starting with Trevor Lawrence. It's not starting with any of those skill position players, although guys can play better and catch the ball. Did you notice that they did something yesterday that I suggested? And I'm not saying that they did it because I suggested it, but they played the hits yesterday. And what I mean by playing the hits, so DJ monikers, like when in doubt, just play the song that everybody loves. They gave the ball to Travis Etienne. They threw the ball to Christian Kirk. They didn't force the ball to Calvin Ridley. They didn't. They got it to him when they could. He had 2 catches on only 2 targets, 38 yards, and a touchdown. But Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, the guys who had gotten 20 carries for Travis Etienne along with 3 receptions, only 3 carries for Tank Bigsby, they focused on getting the ball to the dudes that led them last year without Zay Jones, who did not play. They played the hits yesterday, man. Trevor Lawrence even ran the ball 8 times for 42 yards. They had to. Trevor was extremely patient, 23 out of 30 for 207 yards. He did not go down the field very often. He was short on a couple of passes that went down the field as well. So, yeah, the main thing is that we can pull out of all of this, that we can extract out of all of this, is the Jacksonville Jaguars said, you know what, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to play and use our best players. We're going to ride our defense. They don't have a quarterback that can beat us. Yeah, so what we're going to do is that's how we're going to do it. We're going to play it that way, and it was extremely successful. We'll get into bottom numbers in segment 3, but in segment 2, I'll tell you why Cam Robinson coming back says 2 things. It says we shouldn't write people off as fast as we do sometimes. And the other thing that it says is they will have to show their hand finally on what they will do with the left side of the line. I think they're going to move Walker Little to left guard, even though he's played pretty well, and put Cam Robinson at left tackle. We'll talk about all those things in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars as we continue with a Victory Monday here. And I know you guys are extremely happy. But first, I got to let you know about today's sponsor, and that is LinkedIn Talent Solutions. LinkedIn Talent Solutions These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. All you got to do is get a profile, then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to and faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, man, we're going to run it down here on the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day. Thanking you once again for making us your first listen here on Locked On Jaguars. At first segment was a win is a win. And now we're going to talk about hopefully getting more wins and getting more stability on the offensive line by bringing back Cam Robinson, who was suspended for a violation of the PED policy by the NFL, suspended 4 games. And now he's back. He'll be back this week, he's been able to be with the team, but now he is absolutely able to play this week. There's some speculation whether they were going to, kind of work him back in slow. No, I don't think they're going to do that whatsoever. I think they need to find a way to get as much physicality back into that offense as possible, to win more at the point of attack, to allow everyone else to have, including the play caller, by the way, to have more confidence in the way that they're moving on offense. What we always talk about with offensive line, continuity. What is it? Is it continuity, chemistry, cohesion? All of those things, we call them the C's. There's 4 of them. I always forget what the 4th one is. But you have to be able to move people. You have to be able to prevent folks from running you over. You have to, it looks like sometimes when the Jaguars are on offense and they want to drop back, it seems like the levees just break and there's just breaches in the entire offensive line and there's these little cracks. Running backs look like they're one play away from busting a run and then boom, there's the guy. Whenever you watch a game and it feels like the other team is playing with 2 extra people, generally it means the line is not moving the way it's supposed to be because they're not fast enough, they're not quick enough. The plays are being diagrammed and diagnosed rather by the defense and before guys can even get to their spots, especially sometimes when you notice when they're pulling, and by the way, somebody's already there. It's like driving down the street and a log is sitting in the street already, as opposed to you driving and being able to go around that stuff. No, you come around the corner, it's already there. There's nothing you can do with a pulling lineman when you already have a guy in the way. It's going to defeat the person because even if he tries to block him and even if he tries to move him, that means the running back has to wait. And that means somebody else is going to come up and make the tackle. So not enough physicality, not enough girth. I watched some of these good teams yesterday play in the afternoon, and it even looks sometimes in my mind like the Jaguars guys aren't as big and as physical. And I know it's not true. Sometimes the color schemes can do that to uniforms, but it just comes down to if you can't block, you can't play. You can't beat what you can't block. They were able to win yesterday because I believe they have superior talent, top end talent. I think the defense carried the day for the Jaguars. Of course, we discussed that ad nauseum yesterday on the postcast. But yeah, they basically did what they had to do. Look, nobody in that locker room and wherever they are right now in overseas in England, they're not upset. They know that they still have work to do. But after 2 straight losses to get a win away from home while you're on this extended road trip is a good thing. But they be lying to you, man. I'm telling you right now, they need to get a lot better up front. And the only way they're going to do that is all of a sudden guys just develop overnight. Not going to happen, right? Or, and this is the very important one, they get some help some sort of way. And you usually don't get help via a trade at this point. especially with offensive linemen. You notice teams just don't move offensive linemen like that, right? Unless a guy is just disgruntled and wants out, and it's going to cost them a whole bunch of money, a la Trent Williams back in the day. But there aren't many Trent Williams around. So the way that this has to occur and the way that this has to happen is you either develop your own dude or you get some sort of help. You get some sort of help. And the help that they can get is from a guy that a lot of people wrote off. And I didn't necessarily write him off. I got to explain this, though, when it comes to guys like Cam Robinson and Josh Allen. What I don't want to happen, and this is what I don't want to happen. I don't want to happen what happened with Juwan Taylor to happen to these other young guys in their 26, 27. When you're 26 and 27, that means you're in the prime of your career, especially if you're proven, right? And that's usually when you ask for money that people think is too much. And sometimes when you do that and you get put on the market, you can use a tag here and a tag there on a guy. I am not a proponent of guys like that walking away without any compensation. And I know that people always bring up the compensation that you can get, the extra draft picks that you can get when you lose free agency. I can't think of the name of the term that they discussed that about, but it's just so you'll get a third round pick for a guy. It'll come at the end of the third round for a dude. If you lose enough guys in free agency and you don't actually sign a bunch of free agents, then when you lose the compensatory picks. So I talked to a couple of people around the league, and this is over like a two month period. So I'm gonna clarify this. It was one media guy, it was one GM, assistant GM, and it was another guy that works in the scouting department. That's not just a scout. He has a nice little title for another organization. And they laughed at me when I brought up compensatory picks. Like, yeah, we'll take them, but we're not making decisions based on we're not making decisions or not making decisions based on the fact that we'll get a compensatory pick. That's not how they do it. If they can make a deal for a cat, they would rather them be able to construct their compensation as opposed to the league doing it. Everybody knows that. And then the only way you get compensatory picks is to not sign anybody, like the Jaguars basically did last year. So you lose people, you get compensatory picks because you didn't sign anyone. It's just not worth it. How about this? How about trading them before you know, trading them and getting rid of them, getting something for them so you can still get some of the same results and be able to still go out and use your own draft picks the way you feel. I mean, use your own picks, the ones that you get in compensation, proactively get them and use your free agency. How about doing that? You allow the league what would you rather do? That or allow the league to tell you what you're going to get back and then don't sign anyone so you make sure you get that thing back. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I don't want that to happen. And that's why I was trade Cam Robinson. I was team trade Cam Robinson because if Walker Little's going to be your left tackle, at some point you got to see it. Okay, they've seen it. I think they're good with Walker Little at left tackle. It doesn't mean that I think that they're okay with it. I think that they are. Listen to me. I don't think the team is okay if you just think, okay, that's our left tackle. But I think they think they're okay if he's their left tackle. You got it? So when I say I'm good with it, that's what I mean. I think they believe that they're good with it. And if that's the move, then that's the move. I'll fully support it. I don't think Walker's a bad player. So therefore, I'll be like, all right, let's roll with it. But what are you going to do about Cam? Because he's never played anything other than left tackle. So now you're in a situation where it's almost okay that they move Walker a little inside the left guard, even though he's played well. But I think moving him inside the left guard is better than moving Cam to left guard because I think you're going to get a better result. I think Walker Little's a better left guard than Cam. He might be just as good at left tackle as Cam, but I know he's a better left guard. So putting Cam at left tackle and Walker Little at left guard is going to allow them to have their best players on the field and get the better results. And I think that's what they're going to do. I'm going to do a little by the numbers. And when I say by the numbers, I mean BU, like purchase, not necessarily just going by the numbers. We'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. I have to let you know about FanDuel, man. FanDuel is the absolute truth, man. And if you're not on it, you need to snap into it because this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is already off to a wild start. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is very easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked on and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. Now remember, it's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you use the promo code Locked On. All right, running it down here on Locked On Jaguars on a Victory Monday. Make sure you check out Locked On NFL and make it your next watch here on the Locked On Podcast Network every single day. Well, it's your team every day, of course. Locked On NFL goes around the entire league. That means even swinging through Jacksonville every time, and that even means plucking me up to talk about the entire NFL. And I'll do that now this week starting on Friday. So make sure you lock in, tap in, subscribe on YouTube, which is free to subscribe to. Hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss an episode of Locked On NFL. All right, we're going to do a little by the numbers. We're going to start with sacks and Josh Allen. He has 6 sacks. He's had 3 games, 2 games this year where he's had 3 sacks. Don't care how he got him, okay? Yesterday, he actually did get him in a very nice, pretty way. I don't care that he got him against a rookie and then Desmond Ridder. All right. He has a chance to get it against his namesake this week, Josh Allen versus Josh Allen in Buffalo. So, buying the numbers. He's on pace after 4 games. This is ridiculous to say. He's on pace to get 24 sacks. He ain't going to get 24 sacks. So, 4 times 4 is 16. They play 17 games. After 4 games, he has 6 sacks. I don't think he's going to get 24 sacks. But he is on pace to get a high number. If he gets 15, statistically, that number will say you got to pay him. If the Jaguars don't, somebody will. They could also franchise tag him again. I don't think he's going to be very happy about that. But they could, right? Do the numbers make you, are you buying the numbers that if he gets over 15 sacks, that the Jaguars have their alpha pass rusher? And this is why I've always said numbers tell the truth. Well, numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the whole truth. Do you think if he continues to play this way, and let's just say the next 9 sacks he gets, let's just say 7 of them are pretty sacks. Like it's not like somebody running out of bounds and not getting back to the line of scrimmage. The numbers are still the numbers. Will those numbers be good enough for you to believe the Jaguars have a #1 edge rusher? Trayvon Walker now has 2 on the year. And for him, that means he's on pace to get 8. So if he gets 8 as a supplement to Josh Allen getting 15, and they end up with 23 combined, and at some point they're going to get Devon Hamilton back, do you think the Jaguars are settled at that point? By the numbers, are you satisfied with the turnovers that the defense has been able to create? If they can sustain this, does that make you all feel better about Mike Caldwell? Because that was a big question coming into the year. So about a fourth of the way through the season, we're getting some of these questions answered, right? Because just 5 calendar days ago, after Aiden Hutchinson played on national TV, it was gloom and doom about the Jaguars and their pass rush. Well, they got after the quarterback yesterday. They got a total of 4. So are you buying those numbers that, okay, we're good there, we can move on, we can stop talking about who's not here? Or are you simply saying you still want to wait and see more, and can they do it when they have to do it against a better team with a better quarterback? All fair questions. I can tell you right now, the New York Jets gave Patrick Mahomes fits last night. Not enough to win, but you saw the activity of guys. And for instance, you saw a guy get away from here that is now a super player in Quentin Williams. Could you buy Quentin Williams back and run Chad Muma? or even Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd didn't play yesterday. Chad Muma had a chance to show something. I don't think he did it. And he's saying he was terrible. I'm not an eye in the sky. I ain't going to break the film down. But are you buying that they made a good move when they let Quentin Williams go instead of playing him side by side, even though he's playing in a 4-3? Doesn't matter. Look at Levante David. That's the kind of player that kid is. Levante David's playing in the exact same defense right now that the Jaguars are playing. He's still playing off-ball linebacker. So it's data miscalculation. And those are the things that I'm talking about, seeing guys get away from what was going on here in Jacksonville and seeing them blossom somewhere else, and you're not getting anything back from them. It's just like you're constantly replacing guys instead of building things. Hopefully the Jaguars have learned their lesson with that, and they can figure out what they're going to do. They can start extending people that have been here 3 years, by the way. Guys that have been here 3 years. If there are any guys on the roster that have been here 3 years, they can start extending them. But I don't know if that's where they are right now. The thing is though, there's a micro and a macro approach. You guys know I love using those two words when it comes to this team and just the stuff in general, because it keeps you from falling victim to right nowism. So that's why I wanted to do the buy the numbers in segment 3. Are you buying what you saw yesterday? Has it alleviated and made your headache and your hangovers and all of your anxiety go away about some of those things that concerned you about this team? Or is it still something? Are you still in the same place that where you were and you say, well, we'll just have to see what they do with a better team? Micro is they got to win, and a win is a win. Macro is I'm happy they got to win, but we need to see more, and they need to do a little bit better. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of us feeling that way. Take a little bit of a peek ahead to Josh Allen versus Josh Allen. Jaguars versus the Buffalo Bills in London. This week will be a really, really good test because the Bills can absolutely get after it. This is a really good quarterback who has a getaway car. He has weapons and receivers. They're physical. You don't have to wait a long time to get your questions answered because you're going to get them answered this week. You're going to get them answered this week. And I think this week will be the biggest test to tell where this team are. That's why I wanted them to get back on the winning side of things, because now they would have been desperate for a win before, and it could have just been like things are just going downhill. Now they got a little confidence. They get Cam Robinson back. Zay Jones will probably be back. Maybe Jamal Agnew will be back. Maybe they'll be as close to full strength as they have been all year. And a lot of these questions that we brought up today, even in the face of a win, will get answered this week. But as far as today is concerned, a win is a win. You guys make sure you check in and hang out with me here on Locked On Jaguars. And I'll be doing the best I can over the next few days to give you all of the things that are going on with the team and all the stuff that's going on with the team. Until then, you guys take care of each other. Jags are 2-2. Could be worse. Could be a little better, but it also could be worse. We'll see you next time.